Hi, welcome to my channel. It's been a minute, but I am back making bags. So we are making the Sydney by Swoon. Only a few modifications. I opted out of the front pockets just because of this awesome logo. And then on the back, I only tacked the divided pocket instead of doing a whole pocket. I didn't want to go through the logo here. And I decided not to do any fleece just because I'm using waterproof or water resistant canvas as a lining, so it still gives the bag some structure, but it's more of a hobo bag style, so you don't want it to be super stiff. I did also put in an extra inside zipper pocket. Turned out super cute. So subscribe, like, don't like, I don't know why you would, but you know, if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, leave them in the comment section. I do try to link as much as possible of whatever I use in the video. So just let me know what you think of it. So, see you making this bag. Hi, well, welcome to the channel. So let's get started on this bag. I know it's been a while, but I'm here, so let's do this. Well, first things first, as always, we start off with our straps. This one only has the one crossbody strap, so that makes it a little bit easier. So of course we have to mark our centers, and normally, you know, I do the double-sided straps, but this one I just went ahead and did full vinyl. We will not be butting these long edges together. We will leave a little gap so when we fold over, we won't have any bulging on this side of the strap. So I'll go ahead and knock that out. Also, just to let you know, I'm using, the thread I'm using is a Tech 70 thread that I get from whack.com. I also get my needles. It's a size 18 needle from whack. I am using a Juki TL18 QVP. So it's more of a higher performance machine. My hardware is from My Handmade Space. Well, my zippers from my Handmade Space. This time my hardware is actually from Joanns. I am using a water resistant canvas for the lining, which you can find online and some at Walmart. And then my double-sided tape that I probably will need, so I should get that out, is from Whack as well. It is a leather tape, double-sided tape, so it holds very well. So yeah, let me go ahead and get this crossbody strap done, and then we can move along. Okay, so I will be sewing this at a 4.5/5 stitch length. It's the top stitch length. Whatever you prefer. If you are using a domestic, it might vary a little bit. So, you know, always just test it out and see what you like visually for your top stitch. I'll go around all the long and short ends and back stitch at your start and your stop. Right, so let's go ahead and get this done. Oh, I am using my Teflon foot for the straps just because it makes it a little bit easier to sew these straps with the Teflon foot. Okay, so you might ask why I don't go all the way to the edge when I come across the short ends, because the reason is because they don't always line up at the top. So I usually almost, I want to say 99.9% of the time, I have to trim this piece in order for it to be even. So I leave enough space for me to trim it and not hit these stitches. And that's with all straps, handles, whatever. Okay, so now we get that done. We can go ahead and get our front panel done. So we need our pocket pieces and our zipper, our zipper tabs, and our 2 front pieces. So this front pocket can be a little complicated at first, but once you get the hang of it, you got it. So we'll go ahead and do our zipper tabs. First, it'll be right sides together. And actually, I'm going to switch my foot. My Teflon foot does not like any level changes at all. So, and now we'll only be dealing with a little bit of top stitching of the vinyl here and there. It is about to storm here. Okay, so we'll have our right sides together here. And I will have this about 1/4 of an inch, about 1/4 of an inch away from the edge. And we will stitch. And I'll do the other side. If you start to fall asleep in this video, it's not my fault. It's raining in the background. Very soothing. Okay, so now we will pull this back and top stitch. And it's okay if it's wider than the zipper is fine. You're going to trim it, but you definitely don't want it to be more narrow than the zipper tape, because then when you go to sew, your seam allowance won't match, and it just won't work out. So it's better to trim than to not have enough. All right, so we'll just go ahead and top stitch these pieces. Turn it this way. Get both pieces top stitched. All right. Okay, so now we'll just go ahead and trim the excess of the zipper tab. Try not to go inward, try to keep it as straight as possible, and that is to help with your seam allowance. I mean, I've made the mistake of doing that. So let's not do that. I might have actually done that, but it's okay. And try not to cut your zipper itself, the zipper tape, because you don't want the possibility of it fraying. All right, so now we are going to take our top piece, and I think it's like panel A, and we're going to base this in place. And you can find your centers, but when you find your centers, make sure you match up the zipper tape end to end and not your zipper tabs, because they could possibly not line up. So let me get my threads out. To mark my centers here. And then we'll mark our center for our panel. It's always good to mark your centers. Now I have interfaced this with SF101, and you get from Joanns. It does call for fleece, but I opted out of the fleece because I am using the water resistant canvas, so it does give the bag some structure. So I felt like fleece was unnecessary. But if you still wanted to use the fleece, you could. And that is definitely all up to you. So we're going to clip it down, baste it in place. I do suggest, since we're using a stretchy fabric, this is turning a t-shirt, using t-shirts for this bag. So I do suggest you cut your interfacing first and then fuse your interfacing to your fabric, because with cotton lycra or just anything that's stretchy, it's possibility of your pieces, the edges, to roll, which makes it quite just a pain to interface it after you cut. So it's best to interface it first and then cut, and then you don't have to worry about the rolled edges. So we'll just base this in place, and it's right sides together. Okay, so now we're going to take our one of our pocket panels, right sides together, with the zipper sandwiched in place. And you can find your center here if you want to. I mean, I just line it edge to edge. Should be pretty good. Just clip it in place. And now we're going to use our requested seam allowance here. And add the constructive stitch length. Okay, so now what we're going to do So we're going to flip both pieces, wrong sides together, and we're going to top stitch. Now make sure as you're top stitching, you are pulling this lining and your exterior piece out of the way so it is away from your zipper teeth. So your zipper works. We'll go back to that top stitch length of 4.5, 5, and add an 1/8 of an inch away from the edge, top stitch. Right. So now, here comes the fun part. So we're going to take that accent piece and we're going to put it right sides together. And I already have the line marked there for the center, so we're going to base this in place. And we're going to just baste this accent piece in place. Okay, so now what we're going to do is flip this over and take our pocket panel, the other pocket panel, and right sides together. So your pocket right side, this other pocket right side, and clip it down, and then we'll sew it in place with our suggested seam allowance. Okay, so now what we're going to do is pull our pocket piece. So this is what we have, right? We're going to open the pocket pieces up and flip it over. Then we're going to press our vinyl piece to that zipper panel. Right, so it'll be wrong sides together here. Okay, now we're going to top stitch this here. Turn it this way. Sorry, you guys know that I use a specific spot. Well, if you're not new to the channel, you know I use a specific spot on my foot as my guide for my top stitching. When you have quirky things like that. Right, so we're going to go ahead and top stitch this down. And that's at the 4.5-5 length. Making sure to pull both pieces away from your zipper teeth. Okay. Now, big scissors. Now we're going to take our pocket pieces, right sides together. And yes, you will have that one piece that is longer than the other, but it's fine. So the right sides together, You can see the vinyl piece pretty well. And we're just going to sew down here to close that bottom piece of the pocket at the constructive stitch length. Alright, so now we will trim this excess away. Now, the next thing that we're going to do is, if it makes it easier for you, you want to keep this pocket piece up facing this top panel piece. So if it's easier for you, I feel like, yeah, I sew that a little weird, but it'll still work. I should have had it pushed a little bit further down, but it's okay. It happens. The pocket will still work. So, keeping this pocket piece up against the top panel, and you can clip it together like this if you want. Now, with this pocket piece, panel piece facing this way, we're going to take the right side of our fabric and the straight edge. Now, if you're doing the pockets, it'll be the top part of the pockets, because I opted out of doing the pockets, obviously, because of the logo. But you will have it right sides together here. So it'll be that straight edge will line up to the right side of your accent piece. Now we're going to sew at our suggested stitch seam allowance at our constructive stitch length. It's already there. And back stitch at the start and stop. So now what we're going to do is, clip this, fold our right side out, and you're going to push that accent piece towards the opposite way. So I guess like into the other long edge, towards the other long edge of the accent piece, and top stitch here. And take your time just so you're making sure you're pressing this correctly. 1/8 of an inch away from the edge. Okay, so normally what would happen is this pocket piece would just fall flat here, but it doesn't, but it's still okay. You can hand press it, or you can take your iron and press it here to just flatten it out. The pocket still works, so that's all that matters. So there we have our front piece. You have a 90% functional pocket because you still haven't closed the sides. Now I'm going to go ahead and trim off this excess that I have here. Have a little bit on this side as well. Evening it out. Okay, so now we have our front panel done. Now we have a back slip pocket. So we'll take our lining piece and our slip pocket piece, and we'll put right sides together. At your suggested seam allowance, you're going to sew straight down constructive stitch length. And you can clip, if you like, these two pieces stuck well together, so I wasn't going to worry about it. And now we're going to flip right sides together. And you can press it, if you're using this kind of lining, you will need some steam to press it down. If you're using fabric, just, you know, hit it with the iron and keep it moving. I'm just going to press it and top stitch at that 4.5, 5 stitch length. And then next, what you would do is take your back panel piece and you're going to lay your slip pocket on top and baste it in place. And I'll clip just to make sure it stays in its spot. Not too many wrinkles going on. based stitch length, which is the top stitch, and just baste this in place. Ran out of bobbin. Just start where we left off. Now, normally I do a whole like divided pocket, but because I don't want to sew through this logo, what I'm going to do is just tack it at the top so it gives some stability of not like laying open all the time. There, you know, with such a big slip pocket, it's possible for it to just kind of like lay open when you're not holding the bag. So it still gives you access throughout the whole pocket, but it keeps it from being open 24/7. All right, so now we have both panels done, front and back panels. Yeah. Lay those to the side. And now what we will deal with are our gusset pieces and internal zipper pockets. So, yeah, there we go. So these are our gusset pieces and our bottom. Actually, let's do our zipper pockets. Because I didn't do a divided slip pocket, I decided to do 2 lining zipper pockets. So let's find our centers. Here, we will measure how far we need this to be down. Use my other ruler. So we know this is a 9-inch piece. Be an 8-inch zipper. So I'm marking my box where I need my pocket opening to start and stop. There we go. And mark how far down you need pocket piece to sit. Now I did make my pocket a little bit bigger than what it suggests. I like a bigger pocket. I don't like tiny pockets on big bags. So now you will want your start and stop to try to line up exactly on your parallel lines. Stitch length of constructive stitch length. And so now I'm just going to fold it in half. You could take your piece and lay it down with the X-Acto knife and cut it with the X-Acto knife. I'm not going to do that today. We're just going to cut a little slit of our opening. Oh, and I should have said the pieces will be right sides together. Hope you watch it before I put it together. Sorry about that. So we'll go probably about a ½ inch from where our start and stops are, and then make our little dart. And then pull your pocket piece through, wrong sides together. Now, if you're using this type of fabric for your lining, if you want to press it, you're going to have to press it on the right side with lots of steam. You don't want to press it here because this shiny side will melt. You don't want that to happen. Now your iron's messed up. Yeah, all that good stuff. So just make sure you pull those darts through. Press down. Now you're going to take your zipper, and it's up to you if you want to. You can take some double-sided tape and lay it on the edge of the zipper to have it stay in line. As you all know, I'm not doing all that. So we will just go ahead and top stitch here to get our zipper in place. And you'll top stitch all the way around. Now what you're going to do is just flip your piece over just to make sure you caught all your zipper. There have been times where I've missed the zipper, and if you miss it, that means your pocket is like not fully functional. So you don't want any holes there. And we'll take our pocket panel piece and right sides together. And we are going to sew the horseshoe, or whatever you want to call it. So long edge here, top short edge, and the other long edge, leaving the bottom short edge, or I guess it's all equal. Anyways, leaving this bottom piece open. And we'll do this at a constructive stitch length. We have one lining panel done. Let's get the other pocket on. And we'll do the same thing here. Only difference here is that I'm going to actually close the pocket because I only need one zipper pocket open. If you only have one zipper pocket on the inside, keep it open. Okay, now we have both panels done. We will take our gusset pieces and our bottom pieces and pull these over to the side. So on the wrong side, we have our marks to where we're going to make our little, I think they're called darts too, I don't know. But taking your right sides together and making sure your two parallel lines line up together. You'll go ahead and sew it down at the suggested seam allowance at the constructive stitch length. So I'm going to do that with all of them real quick. Okay, so now that we have that done, we are going to attach these pieces to our bottom. So to our short ends of the bottom, and we will place them right sides together. And at our suggested seam allowance, make sure you're pulling those darts inwards. If it makes it easier for you to remember that, just clip them with them facing towards each other. We will do the other side. We are not going to trim that seam allowance down. Go ahead and do the other side. Same way. Clip. Put the darts facing towards each other. So now what you're going to do is take that seam allowance towards the bottom and top stitch. Remember the top stitch length. And then make sure that these remember, top stitching is almost always an 1/8 of an inch from the edge. So okay, so that's the exterior, and now we will do the same thing with the lining. Okay, so now that we have that done, we will go ahead and move along and do our strap connectors really quick. And you will butt the long ends together. Mark our center. Okay, next we will work on our recessed zipper. So it'll be the main zipper panel of the bag. Don't remember what pattern I learned this from. I want to say it was the a crossbody. I don't remember. But when you're doing the recessed zipper, or in not just in a recessed zipper, some bags you're not using a zipper tab, you're just folding it down. Well, in order for it to, you know, zip correctly, the best way is to make a line. Let's say I was gonna start the zipper here. I would make a line going across, and then I'd fold down here, right on that line, to line up to the teeth. And then tack it down. You can tack it down with a machine or hand sew it. So that's what I have here. I've had these edges folded down and I've tacked them down already. So now we're going to start with our exterior. And we need to fold in our short edges. So I'll go ahead and mark. We're going to need to fold these in real quick. Double-sided tape on all the edges. And we're just going to fold on those lines that we marked. Right, so right sides together. I'm going to lay the zipper teeth just, it's usually about a 1/4 of an inch down from the edge. Wrong side, like this. So about a 1/4 of an inch from the edge, just to give it some space here. My zipper is longer than what she asked you, but I already had this long piece, so I wasn't even going to worry about measuring it out. So now we're going to clip it down. Right sides together. Now we can always like move the zipper out of the way, you know. And, you know, it's up to you, but you don't have to, but I always base my zippers in place because there's always a possibility of it shifting. You could take double-sided tape, but I don't know, the seam allowance is a little small for double-sided tape, so it's possible you could see it. But once again, it is up to you what you're comfortable with. So now I'm just going to base the zipper down in place. Okay, so for the lining piece, you are supposed to fold it the same exact as the exterior piece, but for some reason it just does not work out for me. So I usually just fold the piece on this side, and then as I get closer, because the waterproof canvas can get kind of stretchy. So as I get closer to this side, I'll fold it. But, you know, I'll clip like right here for right now. And so it'll be right sides together. So your right side of your lining is facing the right side of your exterior. And now we will use our suggested seam allowance here. Constructive stitch limit. Let's move my zipper out of the way now. And make sure you start and stop like right before you get to the edge, so you don't accidentally get the stitches on your zipper tape. You don't want your stitches to show. So now we're going to fold our wrong sides together. hair clips. And make sure you pull that exterior, not too tight, in that lining, but enough to where you're keeping it away from those zipper teeth. Slight tug, but you don't want to rip it or anything. And now we're going to top stitch all the way around, even that bottom piece. I like to start from one of the short ends, but you can start wherever you like. Switch that top stitch length and 1/8 of an inch. No. Always check your bobbin. Tip of the day. Always check your bottom. All right, so now we're just gonna do the same thing on the other side. Okay, so now our recess zipper panel is done. So we are almost done. We'll take our exterior pieces and our exterior gusset. So now what I'm going to do is mark centers. So as you sew, sometimes things shift, so you want to make sure you always mark your centers as you go along. And I have a little bit of like excess right here, so I'm just going to trim this excess away real quick. Trim a little bit here as well. All right, let's find our centers. These corners are not lining up. Oh, that's why. I'm gonna trim this to line up correctly. There we go. And oh, we might as well mark our center up top as well. All right, so we'll take, doesn't really matter what side to do first. Oh, interesting. Our centers, mark where our centers are marked, line them up, and then clip going upward. Find that's the easiest, the best way in order on curves to get everything to line up correctly. Start from the middle and go up. Now we're going to sew it down at our suggested seam allowance. Okay, so now we will do the other side. And this is where your pocket will get closed on the sides. The vinyl gets stretched out a little bit over here, but you can see the two panels do line up. So what I'm going to do is just trim off that little excess of vinyl right here at the top. And we are going to turn, oh nope, gotta trim our seam allowance first. Need better pair of scissors. Oh, I don't know where my orange ones are. Oh, may do. Guess I'll be going to go buy a new pair of scissors. That is annoying. None of these are going to be any better. Really? All right. Now we're going to turn the right side out. Oh, it's cute. It's cute. Push the corners out. So, now what we're going to do is take our strap connectors. Where'd they go? Okay, so I had to find my strap connectors. They fell on the ground, on the floor. So now what we're going to do is take our strap connectors, and I'm going to just tack the short ends together. Another D-ring. And now we are going to sew them to our bag. So we'll take, it says to line your raw edges together, but I'm just going to push it up just a little bit. And you probably would have sewn this with the outside still, with the inside still out, turned out, but either way, we'll make it work. It'll be fine. Baste it in place. Looks like it shifted a little bit. Just a little bit. It's okay. And let's get the other one done. Sorry for the loud clacking of the hardware. Alright. Okay, so I am going to go ahead and do the lining pieces same exact way. Just making sure my zipper pocket is open. It's open. So let's find our centers. Make sure your right sides are together. Clip and sew. Okay, so now we're going to trim that seam allowance. we're going to keep this exterior piece with, we're not going to turn it out. We're going to keep it just like this. We're going to take or that's the lining piece, sorry. And we're going to take our exterior piece and our zipper panel. Okay, so this can get a little confusing, but you got this. So what we're going to do is we have one side. This is our front side. We're going to lay this zipper panel right sides together. Okay. You should have your centers marked. Let me just do that. You do it correctly. Okay, so I like to have my zippers going in the same direction. So I have my zipper here, and we are going to put it in place. Don't worry about this piece yet. We'll get to it. It can get a little confusing. This point, you probably wouldn't have your zipper tab on. I don't have it on just because I tacked the end of my zipper here. Sewed it down so that if it did come apart, it wouldn't come all the way off, all the way loose. But you could have your zipper tab on it right now. Pull this out of the way, and I'm going to baste this in place. So make sure you have your other side out of the way. Pull the thread out. Sorry about that. Okay. Make sure your machine is threaded. And space this in place. Take your time. End there. Bobbin. Okay, so what you're going to do is unzip, you have it basted in place, unzip the zipper, fold it, and then fold it again to make sure that your right sides are together. And it'll look all twisty like this, but it's fine. As long as you folded it and then folded it again, you're okay. And then baste it in place. We are almost done. I'm gonna start singing a song, but I don't think y'all want that. Okay, so basically when you flip both pieces up, your zipper is perfectly fine. You got this. But we're not going to flip it up yet. Because what we're going to do is assemble our bag. So keep these pieces down. And you're going to get your lining piece. And this point, I don't think it really matters because I have 2 zipper pockets. But if I only had 1 zipper pocket, I would make sure the zipper pocket was facing the back panel of the bag. So the slip pocket panel. But that's just me because I just like to have it that way. But you don't have to do it that way, obviously. Now you make sure you shove everything in. That includes your zipper end. And we're going to clip, making sure that your seams, so your seam here and your seam here line up. Making sure all your seams matchy match. And I do all the seams first. And then clip the rest of the bag. You can line your centers up if you want to as well. And now we're going to sew it down. Doesn't really matter where you start for this part. Make sure you follow your seam allowance at the constructive stitch length. Okay, so now we will birth this bag. You are supposed to trim the seam allowance, so don't forget to do that. So we'll go ahead and do, oh no, absolutely not. Is the zipper right here? No, I can trim because the zipper is not. I'm okay. I don't like to trim when the zipper is actually, the zipper tape will be in the seam allowance, because now you're making it possible for the zipper to fray. So I'm not going to do that. I'm going to make sure I'm not making that mistake. Oh, yeah, we're good. And if your machine can handle it, you don't even have to trim the seam allowance, I don't think. Maybe where the D-ring is. Alright, so now we will birth this bag. Hand through that open zipper pocket and slowly pull the exterior. And this is one of the easier birthing bags. There are some where you're like fighting with it, but you see it's not too complicated. All this through. Shove this in. Make sure push everything down. And push this other zipper pocket down a little bit. Everything flattens out. Alright, so pull the zipper away a little bit. Now, we had a top stitch. So what I'm going to do is turn the bag inside out. I think it's easier to top stitch inside the bag than trying to have the exterior still out. And you're pushing a lot of things out of the way, and there could be some slippage of your top stitch. So I think this makes for an easier top stitch. So now we will top stitch our bag. I usually start like right outside of the seam. So I don't have too many issues with humps and bumps and all that stuff. So top stitch length. Remember, 1/8 of an inch from the edge. Ooh. All right. So we have our top stitch done. Bag is basically done. Turn it back. Pull the pocket, open pocket through, and fold it inwards here. So we can officially close this bag. Now I normally use my constructive length stitch length to close the zipper pockets. Like I've said before, is because people don't really think about inside zipper pockets. You just shove things in there. So I just want to give it more stability and that it will hold together as we're shoving phones, keys, receipts, cards, I don't know, baby wipes. Because some people do use regular bags as diaper bags. So, the pocket has more stability to it. Shove that back in there. I like big pockets, so I'm able to stick both my hands in here and flatten it out pretty well. Okay. So, it's up to you, but I don't like how the D-rings are kind of loosey-goosey here. So I'm going to take rivets and rivet right here, just so they're more in a stable position. Alright. So the hole punch I got from Michael's, the leather section. Let me excuse me. My rivets are from Tandy Leather. And my rivet press is from Cam Snap. I will link as much as I can down below in the description box for you all. Let's do our adjustable strap. We'll take one end, we have our adjustable piece here, up and through the loop, and we will clip this down. Now we'll take the opposite end of the strap and up. Oops. Make sure you put your swivel on first. Swivel on. And you want to make sure you have your strap not twisted. I mean, I could have easily just took it off and put it back on, but it's fine. So untwisted, pull the swivel down, your other end, back up, and through. And then your other swivel goes on this end. So now, this way, we have an adjustable strap. We will rivet, and that will be done. And then I'll put my zipper end on. We'll be done. I like to double rivet adjustable straps because I just feel like it helps with the weight. This is only on 2 pieces, you know, 2 D-rings. Do the same to this end. Okay. Our adjustable strap is done. one last thing is the zipper end. So what I'm going to do is move this out of the way first. I'm gonna trim the zipper just a little bit to just about right here, you know. Use the great crappy scissors. And then I'm going to fold the edges in towards themselves. And I like to just sew just a little bit, try to hold those pieces in when it's time for me to slide it in the zipper cap. Okay. You don't have to do that. I mean, oh, and I didn't seal the zipper. That's just my preference. Sew these in so they won't fray. And now you can put extra glue in there if you want or anything. I don't think it's necessary. As long as you get the zipper in all the way and the screw on, you should be fine. I just use I just hand screw it in there. Make sure the screw is level. You didn't push it through too much. And here you have it, a zipper end. You just tuck it on the inside if you want. And then we have our adjustable strap. So I think the color choices were pretty good. It's super cute. I had to hit this with a lint roller, but yeah, using t-shirts, you can still get a really cute bag. So once again, you know, like, subscribe. Don't like it, I don't know why you would, but if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, leave them down at the bottom in the comment section and I'll try to get back to you. But thanks for joining me making this bag. All right, bye.